Welcome to our video on cicadas and their impact in the garden. We'll explore how these fascinating insects affect your plants and what you can do to manage them effectively. Stay tuned. Cicadas. Those loud buzzing insects that make their grand entrance every few years. Hello, hi, welcome back. This is Rafa with Tuesday's Child. This video is all about the cicadas. So let's dive into their ominous world and see what all the buzz is about. The most notable feature of adult cicadas is their loud, distinctive song produced by the males to attract females. This sound is created by the rapid vibration of membranes, called tymbals, located on the sides of their abdomen. The noise can reach up to 120 decibels, making cicadas one of the loudest insects in the world. While some people romanticize the singing of the cicadas, I find it to be rather nerve-wracking. In South Carolina, there were calls to sheriff offices. People were concerned that there were sirens or foreign forces invading. That's a little extreme, but hey, I'll withhold judgment. Here in Georgia, Zone 8, they converged earlier than in other areas of the country. It is intriguing that they all know to show up at the same time. However, they only come out when soil temperatures reach 65 degrees. Thankfully, their worn-out welcome came to an end several weeks ago. They disappeared without much fanfare. To be honest, I only recently realized they were gone. Whether you love them, hate them, or are just plain puzzled by them, cicadas are a fact of life for many gardeners. If you're an urban gardener, a homesteader, or someone who just loves getting their hands dirty, understanding cicadas can help you keep your garden in top shape. First things first, let's get to know our noisy neighbors. Cicadas are insects famous for their unique life cycles and unmistakable soundtracks. I think they look like a cross between large horseflies and those flying cockroaches. Their life consists of 3 stages: egg, nymph, kind of like a larvae, and adult. Female deposit up to 600 eggs in clutches or batches of 25 at a time. They lay their eggs in tree branches, and when they hatch, the nymphs drop to the ground. Then they burrow into the soil. I noticed these holes in the ground a long time ago and wondered what caused them. Now I know. Anyway, they spend the majority of their lives underground, ranging from a few years to over a decade, depending on the species. The adults fly, and they don't mind flying right into you with quite a thump. They don't sting or anything, so aside from being large and weird looking, they are harmless. The nymphs feed on the sap from plant roots and change their appearance several times as they grow. When it is time to emerge, they tunnel to the surface and shed their nymph exoskeleton, or shell, and are considered adults. They leave hundreds of shells that cling to everything. They were all over my raised beds, containers, fence, porch, and trees. It was gross. Interestingly, I saw very little evidence in my front yard. I'll tell you why shortly. There are 2 main types: annual cicadas, which make an appearance every year, and periodical cicadas, which only show up every 13 or 17 years. Annual cicadas are the regulars, while periodical cicadas are like that distant cousin who only visits on special occasions. Both types spend most of their lives underground as nymphs, only emerging when they're ready to molt into adults, mate, and start the cycle all over again. This year is unique because everyone showed up at the same time. How cicadas affect gardens. Now, on to the nitty-gritty of why you're really here. Cicadas and your garden. When cicadas emerge, they're on a mission to mate. The females lay their eggs in tree branches, and this can sometimes cause damage, especially to young trees and shrubs. The telltale sign of cicada activity is flagging, where the tips of branches turn brown and wilt. It's like the cicada's way of leaving their mark, and not exactly the kind you want in your garden. I've also witnessed this in my garden and wondered why perfectly healthy trees constantly drop dead branches. By the way, cicadas tend to favor oak, maple, dogwood, and fruit trees. My backyard is basically a resort for them. I don't have these habitats in my front yard, which is why there was little activity. Managing cicadas in the garden. So, what can we do to keep our gardens safe from these noisy invaders? First and foremost, although you will see them in your beds and clinging to your vegetables, they are not eating nor destroying them. Nevertheless, I have found 5 handy tips. Tip 1, protect young trees and shrubs. Use netting to cover young plants and prevent cicadas from laying eggs in their branches. It's like giving your plants a cozy little shield. Tip 2, delay planting. If you're planning to plant new trees, consider delaying until after cicada season. Sometimes patience really is a virtue. Tip 3, pruning. Prune any damaged branches to keep your plants healthy and looking their best. Think of it as giving your garden a much-needed haircut. Tip 4, organic insecticides. If you must, opt for organic insecticides to keep cicadas at bay, but use them sparingly and wisely. We don't want to harm our garden's delicate ecosystem. I will admit I did, in fact, spray my yard. They were wearing me down. And tip 5, relocate potted plants. During peak cicada activity, move potted plants indoors or to a sheltered location. It's a bit of a hassle, but your plants will thank you. I did not do this because, well, it is a hassle. Wait a minute, are there actually benefits to having cicadas around? Well, cicadas aren't just garden wreckers. They play a vital role in the ecosystem. Here's how. As cicadas burrow out of the ground, they help aerate the soil, which can be great for your garden's health. Then, when cicadas die, their bodies decompose and provide essential nutrients to the soil. It's the circle of life right in your backyard. I did notice a strong stench of decaying that came from the piles of shells and dead bodies. I turned the remains that were in the containers and beds into the soil. Surprisingly, they totally decomposed in a very short time. Finally, they support natural predators. Cicadas provide a feast for birds and other predators, helping to maintain a balanced ecosystem. Who doesn't love a good bird watching session? I definitely noticed an uptick in bird activity while the cicadas were here. Here's a fun and slightly gross fact to share at your next garden party. On March 20th, 2024, NPR published an article entitled, "Scientists Studied How Cicadas Pee." Their insights could shed light on fluid dynamics by Ari Daniel. He discusses new research that shows these insects urinate in a surprising way. Cicadas don't just dribble. They shoot jets of urine thanks to their larger size and wider gut. So the next time you're out walking under a tree and feel random drops of water, it just might be a cicada relieving itself. Talk about a garden shower. While cicadas might seem like a gardener's nightmare, they're really just another part of nature's grand design. By taking a few proactive steps, we can protect our garden from damage and maybe even learn to appreciate these fascinating insects. So next time you hear that familiar buzz, take a moment to marvel at the wonders of nature and then get back to tending your garden like the pro you are. Happy gardening. Please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend or two. I'm curious as to where the cicadas are hanging out now. If they're in your area, please leave a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe.